Courtney is so talented. She is, I think, maybe the best straight man female actress that I've ever worked with.
Patricia, what are you doing in my house?
Olá, queridos e queridas leitoras do Cinepop. Eu estou aqui com ela, a atriz Mira Sorvino, que estrela a série de terror cômica Shining Vale, ao lado da Courteney Cox, que já está disponível aqui no Brasil pelo Stars Play. Hi, Miss Sorvino, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm a big fan. I grew up watching Romy and Michelle. I love the movie.
Thank you.
And now you're in Shining Vale. Can you tell us a little bit about your character?
Yes. In Shining Vale, I play Rosemary, who is a ghost or muse or spirit that appears only to Courtney Cox, who is a writer, when she moves into this old house that has a sort of sordid past. And I haunt her, basically, and try and become her friend, but also try and induce her to do some things that are outside of her wheelhouse, some crazy things, so that I can kind of vicariously live through her. And, for the longest time, you're not really sure exactly how real I am or not. I mean, I think I'm real, but, the audience and Courtney is not really sure.
Are you shitting us?
No, we're not shitting you. Go check it out.
And what were your inspirations to compose Rosemary? Any horror movies in particular?
I was more looking at 50s television shows and 50s movies, noir movies, to try and find that sweet spot of who Rosemary was, both as the housewife, the historical, actual living person Rosemary, and her ghost, who is a little bit more fabulous. Because, I watched these shows like the Donna Reed show, and you see this going to parties every night and making the right tin casserole and, wearing a freshly pressed dress is, the pinnacle of living. And listening to the patois of all the women who spoke, and then the more noir femme fatales. And I tried to kind of make this amalgam of Rosemary, who she dreams to be like these glamorous women that she sees on the screen. So when she appears to Pat, in Pat's mind, she's usually dressed in a fabulous outfit. When we see her in flashbacks of her real life, she's much more of like a sweet housewife in less expensive, more, simple clothes. Rosemary's dreams are silver screen dreams for me. Like she's just, she just wants to be alive and see Paris and, just has that zest for life. And she's been trapped in an attic for 70 years. So, who wouldn't?
I thought Rosemary was really creepy sometimes. Can you tell us a little bit how was working with Courtney Cox? Is she that funny?
Oh, she's so amazing. Like Courtney is so talented. She is, I think, maybe the best straight man female actress that I've ever worked with. Like she plays the comedy of the normal person in somewhat strange circumstances, and the comedy of it like to perfection. And her timing, her deadpan, like she's just so good at that, but she's also very real. And I think this show is going to show you a greater emotional depth than she's had the chance to show off in most of the projects that she's best known for. She's got some really deep, moving scenes as the season progresses. But she's so lovely to work with and so professional and so humble. Like, she's a huge star and arguably one of, the world's great beauties. And she's so humble. Like, I love her. It was just a delight to work with her.
And what the audience can expect from Shining Vale?
Shining Vale is kind of a tip of the hat to a bunch of different horror movies and genres, right? Like, so The Shining, with Jack Nicholson, we call it Shining Vale. And there's literally a bar, in The Shining that Jack spends a lot of time at. I believe if you've seen the first few episodes, you know that I hold court in a tiki bar. It's very kitschy, but Rosemary's hosting venue is this tiki bar. The house is on Elm Street, like Nightmare on Elm Street. And then there's a whole part with virtual reality, there's all this stuff that is connected to, and of course my name is Rosemary's baby, so it's kind of taking the piss out of all these different famous horror stories, but it has its own beating heart. It's comedic and yet it's also scary because like the internal forces of a woman's discontent. You know, we've got Courtney Cox being sort of discontented in her life. And then I come in and I'm sort of manipulating her, even though I'm her friend and I want us to have these fabulous adventures together, but also because it's in my nature like a Scorpion, I'm eventually going to cause mayhem and not necessarily the good kind. I mean, it'll be fun to watch, but it's, you know, a little evil. And then, you know, things kind of go from ordered and a little scary to like out of control as the season goes on, but in a fun way. But I can't tell you more than that because then I'm going to be spoiling everything for you.